Luoti. Published by Wikipedia. A luoti is a magical Finnish incantation in Kalevala meter. Luotis have possibly been needed only for the most powerful spells, in which case they have denoted especially holy words. Different incantations have been distinct luotis, which have been must a command of to be able to the incantation. The Finnish noun luoti seems to derive from the verb luota, implying that the words of the luoti have been entrusted or given up only from a seer to a close relative or student, or from the dead or a spirit to a seer. Finnish mythology includes stories in which a missing luoti has to be fetched from sources such as Tuonela, Luhi or the buried giant Antero Vipunen. Birdhouse. Published by Wikipedia. The bird's nest is a mythical place that, according to Finnish folklore, was located far to the south and southwest, at the edge of the world or at the point where the sky and the earth meet. Migratory birds moved to the bird's nest for the winter, following the Milky Way, and human souls may have also wandered there after death. Everything in the bird's nest was small, perhaps due to its proximity to the edge of the sky and the cramped space. The bird's nest could also be located outside the edge of the sky, so that you could get there under the edge of the sky, as if under the hem of a tent. Today, a birdhouse usually refers to a small, safe, and cozy place or area. Birdwatchers. The birdhouse was inhabited by small human-like creatures, the birdhouse dwellers, or skyward dwellers, or edge dwellers. The birdhouse dwellers were described as being so small that a couple of them could fit in the bottom of a barrel. The birdhouse dwellers are said to have fought the cranes because the cranes were trying to gobble up the grain from the birdhouse dwellers' fields. Other versions of the story say that the dispute was over frogs, which both the cranes and the birdhouse dwellers catch to eat. Similar creatures were already believed in by ancient peoples, but they are also known from the mythology of some Arctic peoples. According to some folktales, bird sitters also lived in Lapland. The word, bird dweller, appears in the mythology dictionary Mythologia Fennica, published by Chris Friedgenander. Soul bird. Published by Wikipedia. The soul bird was a bird-shaped soul animal and a symbol in ancient Finnish and Karelian religion. The bird perhaps brought the soul at birth and took it away at the moment of death. According to some traditions, it was good to have a soul bird carved from wood nearby when sleeping, which would take care of the soul during sleep so that it would not go its own way. Soul birds were still used in Karelia in the 20th century. When a person died, their wooden soul bird was placed above the Orthodox grave cross. Such grave crosses still existed at the end of the 20th century. Feeding birds at Christmas is an old custom. The ancient Finns may have thought that the dead, or soul birds, were present with the living in the midwinter celebration. It may be that the ichthyosaur was the self-soul in the form of the soul bird of the mischievous Heian moose. Published by Wikipedia. The hide elk is a difficult-to-catch, strong and fast elk in Kalevala poetry. Luhi sets his daughter's suitor the task of catching the hide elk alive. In one description, the Heiadae make the elk from natural materials. A moose charges into a Lappish village with immense force, knocking a pot off the fire and causing other damage. However, the moose is eventually caught. The creature may be of the same stock as the Samoyed and Obinugrian celestial deer, a six-legged creature that the first shaman captured. It is also believed that the more elk men catch during the current winter before spring, the sooner summer will arrive. Pyhäiset. Published by Wikipedia. Pyhäiset is a Finnish concept, dating to pre-Christian times, denoting a memorial feast that was held to honor a slain animal, particularly the bear, the animal most sacred to ancient Finns. In modern-day usage, it often refers to the celebrations following a successful elk hunt, or a feast at the end of a hunting season. It may also be used in a figurative sense, denoting any memorial held for things that have come to an end. Traditionally, it referred to wakes for humans and animals, but also other celebrations, depending on the region in question. Karhun Pehaiset is a celebration held for the soul of a slain bear after a successful bear hunt. Traditionally, a bear was never hunted, but was merely brought down. A single man could claim to have hunted and killed a bear, but when the entire community was involved, the bear was simply said to have died. The bear's spirit had to be told that it had fallen into a pit or that it had otherwise killed itself by accident, not by the hunters, to appease the bear's spirit so that it would not be offended, and possibly exact revenge upon the hunters. The ceremony was always a much more elaborate affair than what the most influential member of the community would have merited. In eastern Finland, it would have copious mourners and wailers, and the people would address the bear as a relative, or the son of a god. Its flesh was not eaten, which would have been cannibalism, or, if it was, an elaborate show was made to symbolically render the meat into that of another animal such as venison. The bear's head was usually mounted on the top of a young tree, or on a pike, so as to help the bear's spirit climb up into the stars, where it was believed bears' souls had come from. Carrion eaters would then eat it, leaving only the skull, which would then become an object of veneration. A courtyard would also be cleared around the skull. Traditionally, only bears were honored thus. Sometimes, the ceremony was performed in the fashion of a sacred marriage rather than a wake. In such cases, the bear was either propped up inside of a frame or strapped to a cross. With all due ceremony, the chosen bride or groom would symbolically marry the bear. In the present day, Pehaiset usually refers to a celebration at the end of a successful hunt or the end of a hunting season, and they are usually only held for moose and bears. On many occasions, it involves a festive evening meal for the hunters, made from the latest kill. Similar customs have been reported from many other northern people who share their habitat with bears.